Hello, Mark. I want to show you something before we start another episode of our Open Letter to Ordinary Human Beings podcast. Uh, I don't know if you had a chance to see the episode uh, with Naked Pastor, but this is a print that I ordered
I like
from
that. Yeah.
his website. Uh, it was 34 euros, which I think is a bargain because it's beautiful. And I spent a €1.99 at a little store that's in Action. It's kind of like a Fred's, if you remember what Fred's used to be like, if there's any of those around here in the Netherlands. So that's in the background now. And I'm so sorry that I failed to double check with everyone, give everyone a 48-hour heads up that we were going to record because you and Danny and Caroline and Alana, everyone missed their chance to talk with him live. And my daughter Alexis also missed, but Alexis did uh, over WhatsApp sent me a message for a question for Brother David, and it was a brilliant question. Uh, the question was, when do you feel more like your female persona, Sophia? Is there any particular time you feel more like, in touch with your female persona? Because with Alexis, sometimes she feels uh, her female persona more than others. And uh, what I remember from Naked Pastor saying in that answer was that it varies with him too. And I don't recall the particulars of when it varies, but it was a very good question, and I was very proud that she asked it. And I'm so sorry, man, that I didn't give you a heads up about us having him on our podcast.
Sorry, I missed that. I would have joined you for that.
Yeah, if you get a chance, if you haven't seen it yet, he and I had a great conversation, and he's willing to come back, at any time.
Okay.
So that maybe sometime, one of these seasons quarterly, we can revisit, have him as our first repeat guest, and get everybody on the same page, same time, and everyone has a chance to talk to him and discuss his work.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I remember Danny said he liked the ones that had the sheep, and that
Uh,
were a lot of times they were LGBTQ IA plus friendly, and they're very cute. If you haven't seen them, if you get a chance to look nakedpasture.com and just click on it where it says cartoons, um, they're very cool. So,
I'll have to take a look at that.
did you get a chance to look at? And I'm looking at this now. I pulled up the note that I sent you on Word. I'm trying to learn how to use Word because it's the industry standard, as cliche as that sounds, when one is trying to earn the representation from a literary agent. It's called 2026, the Flaneur Random Notes.
I'm
Did
just
that
saying,
come through your, did that come through your
a chance
email?
to look at that
Or
yet.
if you want to look it up. I know we've got dead air, but I am adding a note to my note here because when I write, I populate my characters with actors, and they're just
Uh,
placeholders. I'm not so delusional that I think the actor's going to play that role, uh, but it's a nice shorthand so that when you're telling the story to someone else and you're in the process of conjuring it, if you're going to create it with someone else, I think you kind of have to have that shorthand, if that makes sense. Okay, do you mind if I just read this, what I sent you? Is
Yeah,
that cool
I've
with
got it
you?
open in front of me now, so
Okay.
I can follow along.
I dated it, I time-stamped it, and then I said, hello, Mark. These are some random notes about the possible creation of a book series in which we introduce our hero, Cora Louise Van Leeuwen, Dutch surname meaning from the lion. I imagine her to be Anya Taylor Joy, who is an American widow at the age of 27 who doesn't have time to grieve her husband's suspicious death. I imagine her deceased husband as Paul Mescal because she now has to raise their 8-month-old son, Minos, on her own in a cold and indifferent Washington, D.C., as it feels on the streets in 2026. I want to call our first spy novel in the series The Flaneur, in which she is drawn into the gray world of spies because after her husband's demise, she is contacted by her husband's femme fatale, I imagine Florence Pugh, partner from a lucrative PMC. I think that stands for Private Military Corporation that has legitimate financial ties to international governmental information gathering services. I like the idea of no one taking Louis seriously because they regard her as a grieving young widow with a baby. I imagine her as Anya Taylor-Joy, who uses medicinal marijuana to keep her PTSD at bay. To disguise part of her spy training in plain sight, she enrolls in an advanced parkour class. Advanced because she earned her BA in history with a minor in psychology as a college athlete in gymnastics for Villanova University near Philadelphia that she takes with Florence Pugh, which is the femme fatale. I want our spy novels to feel as if Taylor Sheridan could have written them. If anything smacks of bullshit, it won't work. My target for first drafts is 100,000 words, which I think is fair. I'd like for us to get a manuscript that we may present to literary agents within the next couple of years after we have polished it to the point that we both believe in the material. Chow Paul. And then I wrote this bit thinking about having Alana on board, and I wrote this afternoon during my 1 hour afternoon of work. And when we pass on the text to the next author, I think the author in possession of the manuscript ought to write whatever chapter one deems fit, whether it continues the chronology in which it was received or not. If one of us thinks of a great setup and we have an epiphany that we need to go back in time, please follow that impulse. So, for example, if I pass something on to Mark and Mark has an epiphany regarding a setup, he could title his chapter Mindscape -1. If Mindscape 0 is what he received from me, or if he digs the chronology so far, he may write Mindscape 1. As the number of chapters grow, and what we call our chapters in titles and our subtitles for them, I want us to always feel free that we are the Time Lords over this world we are creating together.
That's a good
And
idea.
I propose that our chapters, whether you wish to call mindscapes as I do or not. And that's a personal decision. If it's too goofy for you, don't do it. And I propose that our chapters, whether you wish to call them mindscapes or not, be a minimum 1,000 words and a maximum of 10,000 words.
It sounds fair.
Yeah, I think a variation in the rhythm of the frequency of chapters is aesthetically pleasing. All right, sir. Uh, and if you should be able to share that file if you have it and you're looking at it now, because you should have the editing abilities too. And just feel free just to any proposal you see fit. And same thing with Alana. You know, I think all three of us, it's better than this one person creating this world. You know, so, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's exciting to think about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. I am creating a header for us with a. All right, now I got to do this again. Sorry, Mark. I know this
No,
is dead air.
you're good.
What I'm doing is I am creating a header because this is exceeding one page, even though it's single space, but it's good. I like that these random notes I think are important, you know, just kind of like we brainstorm a bit.
Yeah, I agree. And we're going to have a lot of those, I think, as we move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, and if the whole process takes a couple years, you know, so what?
Right.
You know, it takes what it takes until everyone thinks it's cool, and we're all proud to present it to a literary agent, you know. So anyway, are you reading anything? Is there anything that's kind of helping you with what you're working on, or what?
No, I'm reading, but nothing that's helping. I'm reading a book about the American Revolutionary War, so that's probably not helping what we're working on.
Well, no, it helps me in what I'm editing for the Amazon storyteller contest because I am referring to William Klingon, who may or may not be uh, a distant cousin who signed the Articles of Confederation in 1781 during the heart of the American Revolution. He was a representative for the state of Pennsylvania. So, you know, part of my when I had my psychotic break and stuff was uh, I loved America too much to stay there anymore because of what it had become. Uh, and It reminded me of my favorite performance by Harrison Ford in a movie called The Mosquito Coast that was released in 1986. Have you ever seen that?
We saw it in about 1986. I can't remember much about it. I think it's one of
Well,
those I rented when it came out on VHS. I know that's been a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. Well, he takes his family. He can't stand it to live in America anymore. And he takes his family out of the USA towards the equator because he thinks there'll be easy access to geothermal energy. And
Right.
he's brilliant. He's an engineer. He thinks he wants to bring ice to the jungle, and he does. Uh, and the family there was wondering, they were surrounded by uh, the natives, almost all of whom were black, and they were cool with him, but they were a little confused about why they had left America. And one of the kids said, "Well, it's because Dad hates America." He said, "No, nobody loves America more than I do." He said it was like when my mother died, and I went to the hospital to see her, and she wanted me to lean in close so she could whisper in my ear. And do you want to know what she said? And the kids are, you know, enraptured. And of course, they want to know. And he said, could you get me some rat poison? And, it broke his heart. He couldn't stand to see his mother that way. So he left and he never visited her again. And all the family just talked behind his back and thought it was the height of callousness and thought he was being cruel. But, the truth was he just couldn't, he loved her too much to see her like that anymore. So that's sentiment is what I am imparted, had to impart in my first novel, which is a fictionalized memoir about my psychotic break and discovering who I am post psychosis. So I'm optimistic. I feel this is the fifth revision I've done of the material that I finished. I want to say maybe in December of 2025. So it's had a chance to marinate for a while in my subconscious. And I think it's pretty good. And I think this edit I'm doing is pretty good. So we'll see what happens. Do you have a working title yet for what you're working on, or has the rhythm all been broken because of life circumstances, or what's
They've been
happening?
broken right now. I'm hoping to get back into it this week.
Yeah. Well,
And for those watching, I was telling you before we started recording that my mom's having some health issues.
yeah.
And so that's been taking
Yeah.
a lot of my time this past week.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry you're going through that. I'm sorry for your mom.
Well, thank you.
You know. Well, we were hoping we could get Alana here to chime in because I'm really looking forward to her ideas. Uh, I just kind of got the ball rolling. Do you like the title, The
I do,
Flaneur?
yes. Yeah.
Okay, I was joking with my wife because we love 30 Rock, and there was
Uh,
a running gag about a show called The Rural Juror. And I was thinking I wanted to make my wife laugh, so I said, "Yeah, we were thinking about changing the title to The Rural Flaneur."
uh,
The Rural Flaneur. So that would be pretty funny, but we need flaneurs are not in a rural setting. They're an urban phenomenon. They're people watching in a urban area. And I just think it's great cover for a spy. I think it's great cover that uh, a woman whose husband died under suspicious circumstances, the official report is unexplained death. So the coroner's office they're hedging their bets as to what to identify this manner of death was. And, she can get places with her baby stroller close to people who would never suspect her of being, a spy or potentially an assassin. I think the arc of our character here in the first novel is going to be a character story, how she goes from being a loving wife to a grieving widow with an 8-month-old baby boy to a spy to an assassin. And after she gets her first kill, then we end the book and we've started the series. If that sounds like a logical character arc to you.
In addition to, trying to kind of, I guess, comprehend and also maybe even be trying to solve her husband's death, is there another kind of plot, like a bigger plot that she kind of finds herself in as well? Some kind of
Well,
threat against
I don't know. I mean,
something.
maybe if you're into plots, but for me, I'm more intrigued about jumping back and forth in time, like years
Mhm.
ago, maybe back to even when her husband and she first met, uh, to make it feel kind of trippy to the audience sometimes. Maybe, I mean, we'll make it clear when the time is, but uh, I want the tone to be uh, kind of dreamlike, like a nightmare, kind of like all very Fellini-esque all the way through. Like that Italian neo-realism, and have with a modern Noirish vibe. Like if I were imagining a director for the movie or for the series, I think Emerald Fennell. Did you see Promising Young Woman?
Seen that.
I think Prime has it. I don't know if you stream using Prime or not,
I
but
did.
also Saltburn, um, and the new Wuthering Heights. She did that too. Um, but yeah, I think, and that's why it's important for me if I'm imagining this to launch a series or movies or a streaming series as a series of novels. I would love to have Alana on board, you know, where and do you and you I'm cool. I'm glad you're cool with the idea of the rhythm of the waltz. We just go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I could start off with the first one, pass it to you, and then that way, Alana has some idea about, okay, since I don't think she's ever tried to write or have anything published like we have, and she could but she's pretty sharp, and I think if she reads what we have, I think she'll blow us away with whatever she comes up with. And
Feel
and and I
confident
think, yeah, I
yeah.
think she has a good sense of humor too. And yeah, whatever happens, we split it 3 ways because we're the band, and the band keeps playing on. You know, so as crazy as that sounds, man, I'm geeked. I'm looking forward to it.
It's exciting. It really is.
Yeah. How's the poison ivy?
It's still a little bit there. What has this been? 3 weeks now? I can't seem to get rid of it, but for the most part, it's gone. It was
Well,
it was
I'm
pretty
I'm
bad at first, as I was telling you, but it's gotten a lot better.
oh man. Uh, well, I hope wherever, if that's in your yard, I hope it's an area you don't have to mess with anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from where I walked back there, so I sure don't want to get into that again.
Yeah. All right, man. Do you have anything you want to add? Because we've been at it for around 30 minutes or
Yeah,
so.
that's nothing else right now. No, that gives me a lot to think about, and just excited to be a part of this project.
Yeah, man. And I also sit just for the heck of it for our our podcasts, our other podcasts, the Down with Psychopaths, Nihilists, and Fascists podcast, I started a song list on Spotify, but I don't know. Do you even use Spotify?
I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, it was just a link that if you did use it, you could just click on it and add songs that you thought in 2026 cheered you up or in some ways, uh, fought fascism or, tried to elevate the little people. So anyway, I guess that's a wrap. So until next time, and don't hesitate to shoot me a message or email or whatever.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, take care.
All right, thanks, Paul. You too.
You bet.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.